Shine TV on Ustream.
DCPS Career and Technical Education.
And Dreammaker. I'm your host, Keeson Young.
I'm your host, Kuzar Winslow.
I'm your host, Everton Morrison.
Did you know Eliot Hine Network has a new podcast and a state-of-the-art studio?
Locked us in on Apple,
iHeart,
Spotify,
Pandora,
Google,
and Amazon Music.
Joins us as a guest today on our show is Sheryl Walton, the Senior Manager of Global Technology Operations at Autodesk.
Our show topic is Inspiring Career Connections. Ms. Walton, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Our first segment is Understanding Sheryl Walton, the Senior Manager in Global Technology at Autodesk.
What skills are most important for you to do your job successfully?
One, I need to be a very active listener. I need to be self-aware. So self-awareness is really good because you always show respect for another person's ideas, their content, their feedback. Must always keep my integrity and always show empathy, gratitude, and grace because of the different cultures, the way people work. We're all different. We think differently. So those are the things that are most important for me to be successful or continue to be successful in my career path right now.
What advice would you give a student to prepare for a career in your field?
There's so many different components of technology, whether it's hardware or software or AI tools or virtual. But the basics, I would say, start by researching and exploring the OSs because we all know some of us like Android, some of us like Apple. So you have two different OSs, one's Windows, one's Apple iOS. And then you may want to even consider exploring the different hardwares that are used in the industries. If we're talking about laptops, if you're in that direction, or of course, the cell phones, the tablets, it just, whatever field you're interested in, you would always have to explore. And then keep in mind too, nowadays, we're talking more and more about AI and virtual tools. So you want to know what's out there, like what's popping in the industry right now. You're hearing a lot about Chat GPT, you're hearing a lot about Gen AI, and most people don't realize that we've been using those tools forever already with Google and Apple products. Then if you're interested in like coding, you want to explore and research certifications that's available for you that are required for a specific job or field that you want to go into. You don't hear a lot about cloud computing and you don't hear a lot about database until you hear security risk. So those are something that you can think about as well, but you'll have to do the work and research what's available to you before you actually step into a career field.
Mm-hmm. How do you work with other people in your job? Is teamwork important to what you do?
So, yes, teamwork is very important. I will start with how I work, and I collaborate a lot across the organization with my business partners and stakeholders, which are those within the business that actually use our tools across the platform. And when working with others, you have to have a combination of interpersonal skills, clear expectations, and then you have to be fully engaged and committed to working together towards that common goal. Because if you're not clear on what it is that you're trying to solution for or deliver on, it could be a hot mess. And then as far as working, is it with a team, teamwork is imperative to being successful. There's no I, individual, in the word team, and I know you guys have heard that. But with a team, you get a diversity of perspectives when there is more than one individual, and you just can't get anything done. Like, who wants to think of all of the ideas? Who wants to do all of the work and the heavy lifting? So, with teams, you get a diverse background of experiences, viewpoints, ideas, and those in turn lead to richer problem solving and decision making. And plus, it promotes a positive work environment between you and a lot of other people.
How do you make and stick to goals?
So I use the process called SMART, and it's like it gives you a list of criteria that you can leverage to start to create the goals and then a means to stick to the goals. So SMART is S for specific, M for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, and T is for time bound. So for specific, you need to be clear on what it is that you're trying to achieve and who's going to be involved, where it's going to take place, if there's any constraints, what are the next steps for you as a group need to do. M is for measurable, and it's, have a way to track your progress and a means to measure your success, right? Because you want to know how you're doing along the way and how you want to make sure that you know how to achieve that goal and what those indicators are going to look like, as far as what it means for success. A is for achievable. Your goals, they should be realistic, attainable, and aligned with the goals that may be set forth by your organization. And you want to make sure that you have the right resources without the additional constraints to achieve those goals. R is for relevant. You should always be aligned with your values, aspirations, and what those long term objectives and goals are. And you always have to ask yourself, does this make sense? Sometimes you just have to stop and ask that question, because sometimes you hear a lot of ideas and people say a lot of things, but is it a part of the overall vision, right? So you always have to just check in with yourself every so often and just ask if it makes sense. If it makes sense to you, everyone else is in agreement, you'll probably be successful. And then the last one is time bound. Your goal should have a specific time, a deadline for it. When do you want to achieve it? How quickly do you need to do it? Is it urgent? And, make sure that you have a good target date for completion.
We are going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
This broadcast is being brought to you by Eliot Hine TV on Ustream.
And the District Knowledge Network.
I'm your host, Israel.
And I'm your host, Robert.
And I'm your host, Hadley.
Our show topic today is Exploring Careers Connections. Joining us as a guest on the show is Sheryl Walton, is the Senior Manager of Global Technology Operations at Autodesk.
Our first segment was Understanding Sheryl Walton, the Senior Manager of Global Technology Operations at Autodesk.
Our second segment is the only difference between possible and impossible is your determination through Autodesk.
Talk to us about Autodesk and some of your products you have sold to clients.
Okay, so Autodesk is a global leader in the software industry. And so we work with architects, engineers, designer, 3D artists, and production teams. And our design and make technology spans across a wide range of industries to empower the innovators everywhere to solve challenges big and small. That is one of our goals, is to make anything and to make it a better world. And then as it relates to our products, so I can think of a few right off the top of my head. AutoCAD, which is our legacy engineering software. It's been around for many decades and it's still being used today. Then we have another product called Rivet, and that one is for architectural design, structural design, and then construction. Moving on to Maya, that one's a character creation, animation, rigging, and simulation tools. That's the one that we use quite a bit for movies. Then we also have Inventor, which is a 3D CAD version of our legacy engineering software. Now that's used for product design, rendering, and simulation. And also, I just want to add that as students, you can get our Autodesk software for free. You just need to sign up for it on our Autodesk.com site with an educational email address.
Cool.
So, how does Autodesk play a role in the electric car evolution?
So currently, and I'm sure we're expanding on this, we provide the interactive visual displays that you see in like Teslas and other EV models. The displays provide that additional information like for the roads, the weather conditions, any type of intelligent design, which is at the core of what we provide to make the EVs sustainable and innovative. So a lot of the dashboards displays the buttons, the prettiness, the voices that talk back to you. That has a lot to do with our software and our interactive visuals.
Okay. Question 3. If a rising college graduate wanted to work for Autodesk, which technology skills do you think are the most important?
So all skills are important, but first you'll need to decide what your career journey and position it is that you'll be interested in. And with that being said, then it'll be up to you to make sure that you capture the skills that are in line with that position, whether it's CAD or architecture, mechanical, civil engineering, coding, or even animation. But it would be your responsibility to explore what's available and then how your skills may or may not align with those particular jobs.
Question 4. How do you teach yourself new skills to help you learn and grow in your field?
Different classes, whether it's for professional growth or technological growth, to solidify the direction that I'm going. Like I can apply and you can apply what you learn day to day, which helps to make you more confident. Oftentimes things will just appear that gives you opportunities to take different classes or different skills, or it may even change your mind in the journey that you're on, but sometimes it may cost and then other times it may be free. You can just join a class, or some type of information that they provide to you to help you with the direction that you want to go.
Cool. We are going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
This broadcast has been brought to you by Eliot Hine TV on Ustream.
DCPS Career and Technical Education and the District Knowledge Network.
I'm your host.
I'm your host, Damari.
I'm your host, Ashton.
And I'm your host, Sanaya.
Our show topic today is Inspiring Career Connections. Joining us as a guest on the show, Sheryl Walton, Senior Manager of Global Technology Operations at Autodesk.
Our first segment was Understanding Sheryl Walton, the Senior Manager of Global Technology Operations at Autodesk.
Our second segment was the only difference between possible and impossible is your determination through Autodesk.
Our third segment is Design and Make Conference.
Talk to us about the Design and Make Conference and its overall mission.
Okay, so our Design and Make conference, it brings together a plethora of innovators in architecture, engineering, construction, product design, manufacturing, and media and entertainment. They're there to share the ideas, talk about the advancements in the industry practices, and to explore opportunities for the future because everything that you're seeing right now was probably discussed and talked about 6, 8, 10 months ago. So it's the conference for those who really do want to make anything.
In your opinion, what are the biggest rewards taken from the Design and Make Conference?
So the awards celebrate people, first of all, because that's the biggest thing. Their projects, their ideas, technologies, what it is and what it looks like to be exceptional in their contributions to the architecture, engineering, and construction space.
How important is it to make global connections?
It's imperative because it allows you to connect and network with others that will also nurture the things or the ideas that you may have. And it brings about a great appreciation of diversity, inclusion, intercultural awareness, which is very, very important, intercultural communication because we don't all speak the same or talk the same, and intercultural learning because you really do learn from others. You have to step outside the box. So, yeah, it nurtures an understanding and appreciation for diversity and inclusion.
Do you have any final thoughts for the students at Eliot Hine?
Absolutely. Stay focused on whatever that goal may look like for you today, tomorrow, or in the very near future. Always keep it fun. If you don't enjoy or love what you want to do or the things that you're doing, you will not be successful at it because you'll feel like you're being pushed. And don't ever be afraid to be your creative self. Stay true to who you are.
Mrs. Walton, thank you for being a guest on our show.
Thank you for having me.
This broadcast is being brought to you by Eliot Hine TV on Ustream
Eliot Hine Network 1 on YouTube.
Dreamwaker.
and DCPS Career and Technical Education.
I'm your host, Ashton Bourne.
I'm your host, Sanaya.
I'm your host, Damari. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ashton, Sanaya, and Damari.